Hello, Facebook world. I told you I'd be back at 1, even though it's 1:08, but it was very important to, make some coffee first. So, gotta love that coffee. I love coffee. It's one of my most favorite things in the world. So, I want to start showing you, okay, little bits by bits, what music theory is all about. What is music theory? Well, music theory is the makeup of the music we hear, the music we play, the music we love to bop our heads to and stomp our feet to, okay? And we hear theory or ear training and it's like, oh no, I don't want to learn that. And then we, run and hide behind the sofa with the tail between our legs. But it's really not as bad as you would think. There are ways to retain the information. There are things that you have to do. I mean, with persistence, repetition, and patience. That's the core of Gabe Toth Music Instructions teaching philosophy. With persistence, repetition, and patience, you can and you will and you do learn anything that you want to, anything and everything, okay? So I hope you can see this. I haven't gone to my computer laptop yet to do any of this because they want me to do all kinds of crazy stuff just to get the live working on the Facebook. So we're on the phone. All you do is just push a simple button, okay? So the start of our theory understanding, okay, I wrote down C to C. Everything that we listen to or play is based on a certain key, okay? Now we're going to start with the key of C because there's no sharps or flats. Now what are sharps and flats? Well, we'll get to that in a little bit, okay? And those of you don't have to know how to read and you don't have to know how to play the piano. But I'm sure many of us have seen enough pianos that you realize that there's black keys, okay? And there's sets of 2 and sets of 3, okay? And they alternate. So that's how we can find out what our keys are, okay? So in this particular example, I put down C to C. C is the note right before the 2 black keys. And that's anywhere. There's all a bunch of different C's, okay? And that's the note C, and it's not F, it's not G, it's not A, it's C. So C to C, we have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's one way of looking at it, okay? Another way to perceive it is as in the letter names themselves. We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And that's the cool thing about music because you only need to know 7 letters of the alphabet and pretty much you have to count to 3 or count to 4, okay? So it's not very demanding as you think it would be, okay? Now, the very important thing we're going to talk about now is when you look here between this E and F, okay, or this B and C, there are no black keys, okay? So what does this mean? Now, between the 3rd and 4th tone, okay, which is here, the E and F, okay, it's only a half step in distance. The B and C is only a half step in distance. Now listen to everything right now because this is where the numbers and patterns start off, and this is how you can figure everything out in music theory, starting with what I'm telling you right now, okay? And it all comes back to this, okay? So C to D is a whole step, okay? That's further, a little bit of a further distance than a half step. So we have C to D, a whole step, D to E a whole step, E to F a half step, F to G a whole step, G to A a whole step, A to B a whole step, then B to C a half step. So we have a formula here. The makeup of the major scale, and that's in any key, no matter what note you're starting with. If you start with G and follow the pattern, okay, that I'm giving you, and the formula, you'll end up with the sharps or flats that are in that given key. So in this case, we have C to C. There are no sharps and flats. But you want to remember and retain that the major scale in any given key is made up by the formula whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay? And right there starts you off with being able to find out what sharps, what flats, another fancy name is accidentals, are in a given key. Okay? So that's where we're going to stop today, because that's just simple right there. So we want to know C to C. We have Do to Do, or 1 to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Or C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay? And I also tell anybody who's learning music, you also want to know how to say those 7 letters backwards. Instead of just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you want to know how to go quickly with G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So when the notes are going down, okay, you can figure the notes out better and quicker and more efficiently. But at first we realize, because the force of, conditioning is basically what we think and how we think it and how we do what we do, okay, and what our brain is used to doing. We're used to reading left to right, or doing everything left to right, down to up, okay, left to right. So, but with music, you have to know how to read forwards and backwards and upside down and right side up and all that. So you also want to be able to trigger the other side of the brain and know G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Okay, because that'll help you get the notes when you're going down. So the lesson is, remember, the makeup of the C major scale, and any major scale, is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now tomorrow I will have another lesson, and we'll do the key of G, and I'll show you the whole explanation of accidentals. What are accidentals? Sharps and flats and naturals, okay? You ever see that in music? It looks like the tic-tac-toe sign, or it looks like the funny looking little B, and then you have the natural sign, which is like a square box with it kind of looks funny, but I'll show you those tomorrow. Okay, any questions, anything you need, send me a direct message. And I'm also going to be on maybe later or tomorrow with one of my courses, and show you how the course works and walk you through that. Okay, have a great day, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.